Welcome to the mock validation. My name is Nicole Kretschmer. I'm one of the validators at Great Start to Quality. This mock validation is going to share an overview of what you can expect during a validation phone call. However, there's a couple of things to note about differences between this mock validation and a real validation phone call. The first is that a real validation is unique to each program. This means that programs are asked different questions based on the indicators and the evidence that they upload. Additionally, the length of time for the validation phone call varies program to program based on the number of questions that the validator has and that the program has about the process. An average validation can take up to an hour. During this mock validation, we'll only be asking a couple of questions as an example and an overview of what to expect during the phone call. So you'll notice the length of time is much less than an hour and different than what a real validation could be. Additionally, in this mock validation, you'll be able to see a video of myself as the validator as well as the provider. However, during a real validation, the conversation takes place over the phone and there is no video component. A couple of other things to note before the validation call. The validator will already have reviewed the organization profile to look at the classrooms and staff in the program. They'll have reviewed the application and other information about the program that was submitted. And of course, the validator will have reviewed all uploaded evidence in the self-reflection. The validator takes detailed notes to make sure that they're prepared about what questions they need to ask the program and very familiar with the evidence to help guide the conversation. Additionally, before the validation call, the validator will have already reached out to the program to schedule the call. Validators schedule the calls at a time that's convenient for the program and works best for their schedule. During the scheduling call, the validator will also explain what to expect during the validation so that the program is well prepared. Now that you know a little bit about what the validator does, we're going to transition and see how the program gets prepared for the validation phone call.
For the purpose of this video, I will be the provider, and prior to the phone call, I have gotten into my office, found a quiet space for the call, and gotten out my computer. So when the validator calls, I am ready for their direction. So now I'm just waiting for the validator to call, and oh, my phone is ringing. Hello?
Hi, hi, is this McKenna?
Yes, this is McKenna.
Hi, McKenna. It's Nicole, your validator with Great Start to Quality. How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great, thanks. Is this still an okay time for us to do the validation?
Yeah, absolutely. Just give me 1 minute. I'm going to put you on speakerphone.
All right.
Okay. Yes, I'm ready.
All right, perfect. So the first thing that you'll want to do is go ahead and get your organization profile pulled up in my registry.
Okay.
And let me know once you've got that pulled up.
All right, I am in that organization profile.
So we're going to do three things on the call today, McKenna. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to review the staff that I saw listed with your program just to confirm that all of that is correct and current, as sometimes we know there's staff changes between the time that you submitted and the time that we do the validation call. So we'll confirm that information. The second thing that we're going to do is we're going to open that self-reflection and I'm going to ask you some questions about the evidence that you uploaded for those indicators. Just get some clarifying information and see if there's anything additional you can upload. And then the final step in the validation, we'll just be going over the timelines and next steps for the process. Okay, does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Perfect. So the first thing that I'll do is confirm your staff. So you're welcome to stay there in the in the organization profile if you want. If you want to go to the employees tab and kind of follow along, I will be using a report that locked at the time you submitted your validation. So if there's any changes between what I ask you and what you see in the system, just know that's probably why, because there's been a change since you submitted.
Okay.
So the first thing I need to confirm is it looks like the director for the program is Miranda. Is that correct?
Yep, that's correct.
All right, perfect. And then the next group I need to confirm for staff is the lead teachers. So the first person I see listed as a lead teacher is Darwin. Is Darwin still a lead teacher?
Yes, Darwin is still a lead teacher.
Oh, actually, I noticed that there was no other lead teachers listed. So is Darwin the only lead teacher in the program?
Oh no, this recently changed and Carrie is now also a lead teacher.
Oh,
She just
Carrie's now
completed
lead.
her CDA.
Okay, perfect. I noticed that she was listed as an assistant, so I'll make a note that she's now a lead. And do you know when she moved into that lead teacher position? Was that a recent change?
Yeah, about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Okay, perfect. I'll make note of that date. Thank you for that. All right. And is that everybody that's a lead teacher?
Yes.
Perfect. So now we'll move into assistant teachers. The first person I saw listed as an assistant was Melinda. Is Melinda still an assistant?
She's no longer with us.
No longer with the program. Okay, thank you for that. And then the other person I saw as an assistant was Tatiana. Is Tatiana still an assistant?
Yep, that's correct.
All right, perfect. And then there was a couple other folks linked to the org profile that were not listed as like teaching staff. So I just want to confirm if they're still with the program or maybe have a different title. So the first person I saw was Brooke. She was listed as other. Is that still a correct position for her?
Yep, that's correct.
Okay. And what about Elizabeth?
Yeah, she's other as well.
Okay. And then the final person I saw on the list was Jamie. Jamie was listed as non-teaching staff. Is that still correct, or does Jamie work in the classroom?
Nope, she is just runs the front door, so
Ah, that makes
she
sense.
lets
Okay.
parents in.
Perfect. Thank you for confirming that. That was everybody on my list. Just want to double check. Was there anybody else, any new staff or anybody that we didn't talk about?
No.
All right. Thanks for that. So now we're done with that piece. So we're going to move into the self-reflection. So if you want to go up to the quality improvement tab in that organization profile and then click the quality overview button. And then once you're in the quality overview, there should be a button kind of in the middle of the page, not too far down, that says case details.
Okay.
And
Click on
then,
that.
yep, you can click that. And then once the case details opens, and there should be a button on the right side of the page that's a self-reflection. And so you want to click
Okay.
on that. And then in the self-reflection, the first questions that I have for you are in the first section, which is family and community partnerships. So you can hit the review button for that section.
Oh, okay.
Perfect. And there's a couple things I like to remind folks before I get into the indicators and the evidence specifically. So the first thing is that I have a few questions for you. Just know that asking questions is a normal part of the process. It doesn't mean you did anything wrong. It's just because the indicators are looking for very specific evidence. So every time during a validation phone call, validators ask questions to gain more information. So just know you're right on track with all of the other programs.
Perfect.
I'm also going to be taking notes as we're talking. You're more than welcome to take your own notes as needed, but just know that I'll have those notes and they're actually going to be available for you in the system after the call. So what you're going to see as we're talking is a read-only version of the self-reflection that you've submitted. So you're going to have to scroll through some things, skip over some indicators while we talk about the ones I have questions about. But after the validation, I'll send the self-reflection back to you, which is what's going to allow you to be able to make those edits. And when you get it back, you'll only see the indicators you have to upload for, and you'll see those notes from me. So it'll make it a lot easier for you, okay?
Oh, okay, perfect.
Perfect. And then the final thing I always like to remind folks of is that there's no points on the self-reflection. So as long as you are meeting at least one indicator, you move forward with the process. Process is all about quality improvement, not perfection. So if there's something that we talk about that you don't have, it's okay. I won't make you upload it. I don't want you to do a bunch of extra work at this time. It's really just a time for me to see what you currently have in place. So before I jump in, any questions about any of those things I shared?
Yeah, so will you send me your notes back in an email or how will I see those?
Yep. So I will send you an email as a notification that the self-reflection got sent back, but you're actually going to log into the system just like you did today. Open the self-reflection like you just did, and that's where you'll see the notes for me. The notes will actually be on the right side of the page, right next to the indicator. So it'll make it really easy for you.
Okay, awesome.
Perfect. That was a good question. Okay. So I'm going to jump in now with my questions about the indicators.
Okay.
And my first question is that second indicator, FCP2. So if you want to scroll down to that one.
Okay.
Perfect. So what this indicator is asking is if you have a family handbook or a contract that includes these specific items that are noted in bullets there. So we want to see like a full handbook or contract with kind of all of the information about your program. What I saw you uploaded was just a document that had your philosophy statement, but it wasn't like a complete handbook or contract. So I just wondered, do you have any sort of handbook or contract that addresses some of these bulleted items?
Oh, yeah, yeah, we do for sure. Um, so you're saying the handbook has to have all those bullet points?
Correct. Yep. To meet the
Okay.
intent of the indicator and that currently meeting option, we want to see all of those bulleted items. So typically, what folks do is just upload their entire handbook for me, and then I'll look through it and see if that information is in there. So I just need you to upload the whole thing if that's
Okay.
possible.
Yep, yep, I can do that.
Okay, perfect. And one clarification, I noticed that your program did have one GSRP classroom and some tuition classrooms. So some programs have just one handbook for everybody, and some have a separate handbook. Do you have just one handbook, or do you have like a separate one for the GSRP classroom?
We have a handbook that we give to all students, GSRP or not, and then we have a separate GSRP handbook as well.
Okay, perfect. Will you upload both of those for me just so I can take a look at both?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, thank you for that. I'm just gonna finish putting my notes in here. All right. And then the next question that I had for you was skipping down a few indicators. So if you want to scroll down to FCP7. So FCP7 is a little bit different of an indicator. So this is what we call a description indicator. So any indicator that we have in the self-reflection that asks for a description means that we're looking for some sort of like written statement, policy, procedure, something that you have written out, and then we want to see that you've provided or actually given a copy of that statement to the families and to the staff. So this specific description for FCP7 is asking if it explains how you encourage the children to use their home language throughout the day in their play and learning experiences. So the document I saw that you uploaded, it talked about having a cultural competence plan about cultural competent things that you're doing in the program, but it didn't specifically address home language. Do you have anything that is specific to home language?
Yeah, so currently we only have one student that doesn't speak English as their first language, so we definitely, work with the parents and get some of those words into the classroom that they might be using at home. Some of our staff speaks a little bit of the same language as the child, so they definitely interact with the child. But as far as like whole group, we don't often get a ton of children that speak another language other than English.
Yeah, that's understandable. That's true for a lot of programs. But this indicator is not only specific to children who speak English or non-English. It can be any type of home language. So certain phrases that families might use. Maybe they have certain names that they call family members or certain things. So it could kind of encompass all of those things. But what we're really looking for is a written description. If you look on your screen next to where it says evidence, there's a little blue question mark inside of a circle. If you click on that, it'll give you a little pop-up box. And in that pop-up box, it will explain exactly what we're looking for. So how we're looking for that written description. So I just want to clarify, do you have anything written that talks about the things you're doing, or is it just kind of a process that happens naturally?
There might be. I know there's something in our GSRP handbook, and there might be something in our other handbook, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, how about I send this indicator back to you with a note about uploading that description, and then you can use that little question mark to see if what you have meets what we're looking for. If you do, great, you can upload it. If for some reason you don't remember, like I said at the beginning, there's no points, so it won't require you to upload, and it won't count against you in any way if it's something that you don't have and want to work on in the future, okay?
Okay.
That sounds good. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and send that indicator back to you, and then you can use that little question mark to help guide you to see if you have the evidence and are able to upload it. One thing to keep in mind that you'll note in that little question mark is that this indicator does require, like I said before, that it's provided or shared with both families and staff. So if you do find that in the handbook, you'll just want to make sure that you put a little note in the comment box that explains how you also share it with the staff. So I'll put that note as a reminder in the comments or the that I leave for you about uploading the evidence. But just want to make sure we have that piece that it's shared with both the families and the staff. Okay.
Okay, yeah, our staff get the handbook at all of their like onboarding and it's available to them
That's per
in the classroom. So,
That's perfect. That's the exact information you'll just want to type in that box.
okay.
And in my notes that I send to you, I'll make sure that I'm very clear to upload the description and edit that document comment box. So it'll be
Okay.
clear in the notes for you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so that was my last question there. So then if you want to close that section, we're actually going to skip over the next one, inclusive practices. I didn't have any questions for you there, but we'll open the next one, which is curriculum instruction and learning. And in that section, my first question for you was CIL7. So you have to scroll down just a little ways to find it, and you can let me know once you get there.
Okay, I'm there.
Perfect. All right. So what this indicator is asking is if you complete or use a screening tool on all the children in the program, and it kind of asks about how often you're doing it. So I saw an ages and stages form was uploaded. Is that the tool that you're using in all of the classrooms?
Yeah, yep. We use the ages and stages in all the classrooms.
Okay, perfect. And how often do you use that?
For GSRP, we do it at the initial home visit and then we track it again later in the year. And for our other classrooms, we do it typically once a year.
Okay, that's helpful. All right, so the indicator is asking annually, so it sounds like you're doing it annually in all of the rooms then. So what we need for this indicator is two different pieces of evidence that kind of show that that's being completed. So one piece of evidence needs to explain what you're doing. So it could be like a statement, a policy, a procedure, something along those lines that talks about using the ages and stages annually. Do you have something that would kind of explain that?
Yeah, I think that is in our parent handbook as well.
Okay, perfect. I'll make a note. If you could upload that for me, then that would be great. And then the second piece of evidence needs to show that the ages and stages was completed. And so I did see that one ages and stages form was uploaded, but I noticed it was just for the preschool age group. So that would cover like that GSRP classroom. But since I noticed you also had tuition classrooms, including younger kiddos, I was wondering if you could upload a recently completed ages and stages for each age group so that I could see it's done with all of the children.
Yeah, so do you need one for like each classroom or is it just like one for infant, one for toddler, one for preschool?
I think you can just do one for each age group. That should be
Okay.
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 Thank you for that. And I'll put those notes in there for you as well. Then my next question for you is skipping down a couple more indicators. So if you want to go down to CIL12,
Okay.
so this indicator is asking if each of the classrooms that the children use primarily throughout the day have a source of natural light. So it could be a window, could be a skylight, could be a glass door that leads directly outside, any of those types of things. But we need to see it for each classroom. So what I saw uploaded was a photo of one skylight, but I know you have multiple classrooms. So I just wanted to clarify. How many classroom spaces do you have that the children are using primarily throughout the day?
About 5.
Okay, so 5 classrooms. And does each one have a source of natural light, something that leads directly outside?
So our infant room has like a hallway, but it's like an all glass door to outside. And then our toddler room doesn't currently have, it's just a door, like there's not windows on it.
Okay. That's understandable. We know this one is a tricky indicator sometimes when depending on your program layout, which is part of the reason there's no points on these indicators because we know there are certain things that programs can or can't control. So we do have to see that natural light in every single classroom in order to meet the intent of the indicator. So since it sounds like you have at least one, maybe two that don't have that source of natural light, I'm not going to make you upload anything for that indicator. Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. All right, so that was my last question for you in this section. So again, you can go ahead and close that one. We're going to skip over the next one that says professional development because that one is all stuff that's pulled in from the from my registry. So no questions there. If you want to just open the last one, which is staff qualifications, I just have one question for you there.
Okay.
And once that opens, my question for you is the very last indicator. So if you want to scroll all the way down, it's the indicator AM4.
Oh, okay.
So, what this indicator is asking is if your program has a business sustainability plan. And what we mean by business sustainability plan is some sort of plan that explains how you plan to sustain or grow your program long term. So, the different steps or strategies that you might take in order to keep your business open and running. Uh, what I saw you had uploaded was a budget document. And while budgeting is certainly something that could be included in a sustainability plan, just the document itself isn't what we're looking for this indicator. It needs to be the actual plan that explains like the steps or process that you have to sustain your program. So, do you have anything more along those lines?
Um, I'll have to check and see on that one. I know I have like a business plan from when the center first opened. Would that be something you're looking for?
It certainly could be what we're looking for. Yep, a business plan can certainly be that. We do want it to be something that's current and active. So if your program's been open for a long time, something that you did several years ago likely wouldn't meet what we're looking for. But if you're a new program and just opened and that plan is still active, it could certainly be what we're looking for. If you want to upload it, I could take a look at it.
Okay, yeah, I can find that and upload it for you.
Perfect. I'll make a note in here of that. All right, so that was my final question for you. Before I move on to next steps and timelines, do you have any questions for me about the evidence or the indicators?
Okay, so you took the notes and then you'll send those back in the website, and then I'll log in and upload it with soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So that gets right into that next steps and timelines that I was going to move into. So that's a perfect question. So my immediate next steps, as soon as I hang up the phone with you, is I'm going to go through all those notes I was typing as we were talking. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Make sure I checked all the right boxes in the system. There's lots of little things that I need to do. Probably take me 10 to 15 minutes. I'll go through all those notes. Then I'll send the self-reflection back to you. And just like you said, that's when you'll be able to edit it. And so when I do that, I'll send you an email, and that email will be your notification that I sent it back. And you can get in and start uploading whenever you're ready. You can start as soon as today, as soon as I send that email, or if you don't have time, you can take a few days to work on it. That's fine. You can also come and go. You don't have to go in and do everything all at once. You can just take your time and save and start as you're able. We always give folks at least a week to get everything uploaded, so that would make it a week from today as your deadline. So if for some reason life happens and you can't get it done in that week, things get busy, you just reach out to me before the end of that deadline and let me know, and we can certainly talk about extending or adjusting that timeline if needed.
Okay.
But what's most important is once you upload, just make sure you push that submit button when you're done, because that's what sends it back to me in the system to let me know that everything is finalized. And then you're all done. You can sit back and relax once you push submit. Validation is done for you. I'll then go in and finalize everything, review that additional evidence, and then there's kind of two next steps that happen after I finalize. One, you'll hear from your coach at the Resource Center, and then they'll reach out, share those results with you. If there's things you want to change or work on, they'll continue to work with you like they always do. And then the second piece is you'll hear from our on-site observation team. They'll reach out via email a few weeks after the validation and ask you to fill out a form to gather more information about that process so they can move you into scheduling. So just be on the lookout for that email.
Okay.
Were there any other questions that you had?
Should I call you or email you when I've submitted it, or do I need to do anything once I submit that?
Yeah, once you push submit, it'll notify me in the system and I'll be able to see it. So you don't need to reach out. If you would like to, some folks like to reach out just to make sure there was no glitch or check in. You are more than welcome to. I'm available anytime to follow up with you, or if you have any questions or concerns as you're uploading. If you get in there and for some reason my notes don't make sense, you can't remember what we talked about, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to clarify.
Okay, awesome.
All right. Well, thanks, McKenna. It was such a pleasure chatting with you today. If I don't hear from you because you don't have any questions, I hope you have a good rest of your day. And just know I look forward to talking to you in the future when you come back through the process.
Thank you so much, Nicole.
All right. Thanks. We hope you found the mock validation video helpful as you prepare for your own validation phone call. But you still may have some additional questions or maybe wondering how your program can have a validation. To learn more, there are a few ways you can reach out. First, you can visit our website, greatstarttoquality.org. Here you'll find more information about the validation, the quality indicators, and all other steps in the process. You can also reach out to your resource center. If you're already in contact with your specialist or coach, you can reach out to them directly. If you're not in contact with anybody from the Resource Center, you can call 877-614-7328 and someone will be happy to assist you. Finally, if you have a specific question for the validation team, you can reach us anytime by emailing validation@ecic4kids.org. Thanks for learning more about the validation. We look forward to scheduling your validation soon.